Hi, everyone. Please, can we gather back in the main stage? We're about to continue. We're running out of time. We have to pay attention to our virtual participants. Please, let's move back to our seats. For those at the exhibition areas, please also come back to your seats. Enough of the photo sessions for now. We will continue that later. Please, can we go back to our seats? Everyone here, please, can we go back to our seats? Please, can we stop serving tea break now? Please, tea break should be suspended for now.
So, good morning again, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to the third symposium. We're really, really excited to see you all. Thank you all again to the virtual participants, but also to all of you that made time to be here. So what we're going to do now is just to go through what was discussed yesterday. I don't know who were part of yesterday's discussion. Yeah? Did you find it interesting? Yes? Okay. So for the benefit of those that are just showing up today, we'll just do a bit of recap, yeah? So yesterday we had several topics that were discussed. The first one was on harmonizing the agriculture and trade policies across Africa to enable the implementation of the ACFTA. That's the free trade agreement, right? And pretty much what this topic focused on was to look at policies and why it's important to have such an agreement. And what was discussed really was the importance of having policies. That's one which we have already in the form of the agreement, but also implementation of these policies. So it's one thing to have the policies, but how do we make it work for all of us in Africa? How do we ensure that Sierra Leone and all the other African countries that are part of this pact are able to participate or get the most out of this agreement? So policies were around harmonization of policies. How do we have standards in place that would cut across Africa? For instance, if, you know, I'm a processor in Sierra Leone and would like to export something to Nigeria or Ghana, what are the standards? How am I informed about that? What are the markets? How do we have access to the markets? So pretty much at that very high level, it talked about what more can government do and the role of the private sector as well. The second topic was the role of branding and marketing in export readiness. And for this one, I'm just going to take a few quotes on this. Give me a sec. So, few of our speakers said that branding is the distinct identity and uniqueness of your business. In the context of intra-Africa trade, branding opens doors to emerging markets globally. Branding communicates values, okay? Branding is also about telling your story. What is your storytelling when they see your product? Is it, so branding can be so many things. It can have a picture of your product. It can, you know, have a name. So a branding should always tell a story about who you are, what your product shows, what your values are as a business person. And here it also says it's a healthy brand perception. It builds customer loyalty. Sustainable marketing strategies can be leveraged for increasing the reach and impact of your products, okay? So several speakers talked yesterday about the need for branding and how we should really pay attention to that. But not just to have like beautiful looking products, but also products that will communicate what our values are as a business. And then we also talked about marketing. Here, there's another quote from another speaker that says, there is but one rule in marketing. It is not what you sell, but rather how you sell it. Brand visibility is important, but tactical marketing gives your business a competitive advantage. Know this and know peace. This was Fakunle Cedro Royal. So pretty much it's good to have a good product. It's good to sell your products well. But at the end of the day, marketing is what brings that satisfaction, okay? And then the third topic, give me a sec. Apologies for that break. Okay. So, the third topic yesterday was on food security and sovereignty through our grain markets and a leverage on cross-sectoral linkages. On this one, we pretty much just talked yesterday about the meaning of food security. What is food security? What does it mean to have a grain? How do we build resilience in Africa? How can we work better? How can we trade better? We all have heard about the international global crisis in the last 1 year plus. We've seen how that has affected us in the way we do business. How can we make use of this free trade agreement to ensure that within Africa we're trading in a better way, but to also ensure that we're building resilience within our communities? How do we cope better? How do we market better? How do we promote local content? We're always talking about local content. So this is where we talk about food sovereignty. How do we promote consumption of, our beloved food, our plazas, or our local peppers, our veggies locally? How do we add value so that our foods are more palatable? So pretty much these were topics that were discussed. So for today, I just gave quick instructions on that. We're going to have main topics. For the first breakout session, we're going to have gender transformative models. Gender transformative models, women and youth at the center of the African agribusiness. A focus on enhanced access and on service delivery and sustainable business development. So that's panel one, okay? One that will be taking place simultaneously is the prime role of water, soil, and plant science and technology in ensuring enhanced productivity in the advent of climate change. So these will be taking place between 11 o'clock, so let's say 11:30 now to 1 o'clock. And for the sessions that we're going to have, we'll have two rooms. So we'll have one here, and then we'll have the other group discussion right there. So you're also sort of like free to choose where you want to go. But to just ease the movement, we're going to say half of the room will stay here, and then the other half can join the other sessions, okay? And then in the afternoon, we're going to have two sessions as well. The first one will be the coffee and cocoa value chains, developing giant, sustainable, and empowering multinational corporations. That's topic one. The second one is export readiness, quality married with productivity and sustainability. So these will be for the afternoon, and we'll have to sort of like reiterate it in the afternoon. But for this morning, I've already listed the first two, which is one focusing on gender, and then the other one talking about the prime role of water and soil and plant science and technology and productivity, okay? And also please do not forget to follow the social media handles. You can hashtag us as well on, let's check that, Craving for Development. So for pictures, or if you have comments about the program, please hashtag us on Craving for Development. And also for the symposium, it's Agri Symposium 2022. Okay, so that's a Twitter handle. Please follow as well and comment. Thank you so much, and looking forward to a very fruitful day. Cheers. So we'll have this first half, we'll stay here, and then we'll have the other half going in there, please. Right there. Gender. Gender will be in that. And then the other one will stay here.
Fode Kamara, could you please come to the podium, please? Fode Kamara, please come to the podium. So some of our speakers are going to be virtual, so they're just setting them up so we can start. All right, we're going to start. Some of our speakers are online and they're still trying to set up so we can see them, but we'll try and see if we can hear them. Yeah? All right, so this session we're going to be focusing on the role of water, the prime role of water, soil and plant science, and technology in ensuring enhanced productivity in advent of climate change. So we're focusing on the role of water in plant, soil, science, and in technology when we are looking at what is happening in the world now with climate change. So as we are still waiting for our other participants, our other speakers to come on board, we're going to make this highly participatory and hear from you guys. Have you started witnessing any signs of climate change in your neighborhoods or in your communities? If you have, just raise your hand. Let's pass the mic to you. Can you come help me? Esther, can I have your help? Let's just pass the mic. Yep.
Yes, good morning all. One big climate change I've experienced in my community is that nowadays we are getting less rainfall, and as a result, most farmers are not happy with that, in as much as the crops need much rainfall and will make the soil fertile. So as a result of that, we experience low crop yield in some areas in Sierra Leone.
Thank you. Can I have your name?
Mohamed Lamin Sanko,
And where are you from?
Cambia District.
Cambia District. Thank you. I see some Cambia District people here as well. Thank you. There's a reduction in rainfall. The amount of rain that is being received in the different communities. Let's hear what you guys are experiencing in other communities. There's one in the back. Please raise your hand. If you want to share your own experience, what are you seeing as climate change effects in your communities?
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself and where you're from. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ambassador Junis Akalon. Here in the capacity of a partner at Cerebena Farms. My experience basically it's about the crisis that we are experiencing late last year to this year with regards to the drying up of riverbanks, which was the main source of water wherein we use irrigating systems to supply the farmland. We realize there is a low saturation of water and there is high content of salt. And this, of course, has affected the life of both the plants and animals in those rivers. So that was a crisis and it's still ongoing. We are finding ways as to how to get sufficient water supply to reach our farm, but yet I'm here to see and learn what can be the best way forward. Thank you.
Thank you too. He highlighted that the salt component in water that they are using for their irrigation has increased. We all know that when it comes to plants, it's all about the chemicals. It's all about the components of everything you're putting in, whether it's the water, it's the state of the soil, it's the state of the fertilizer you're putting in. Every single thing that you're using will feed into your plant, and the performance of your farm will depend on how well your plants are taken care of, how well they are fed. All right, just a second as we try and see if we can get our speakers online. Anyone else who want to share what they are seeing as effects of climate change in their communities? Anybody else? Don't be afraid. Remember what we said, we are here to talk about what's happening. Isn't it getting a little bit hotter? Or even now that in the month of November there were rains, is that normal? Guys.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lajuk Baka, founder and farm manager of Steel Baka Farm, Bondi Street. One of the crises that we experience as farmers in Bondi Street, na be excess rain. We be getting enough rain this year, we be make the soil texture become moist and the water tension be go high. Some certain crops and they will be the plants, and they do very well during the rainy season. But this particular season, some certain crops and they will plant, they not do well because of the water table be the up, then the tension. You can find out say even you want dig some certain holes or plant some crops then you not go able to plant them because of the water table. The water be the up. So that become one of the crises for us the farmers in Bondi Street because we they do million farming mostly in a waterlogging area. So that become a crisis for we. Some crops that will go able to plant will not be able to plant and because of that particular reason, so it become a problem for us the farmers then. We not be get solution to us that. Some of we the farmers then comes together. We try for work on that through a climate change program within Bondi Street through the Ministry of Agriculture. So we try for work on that for remedy that kind of situation and the coming planting season.
Thank you. Okay, there's someone else. What I like about your particular situation is your community is already mobilizing itself to be able to solve the problem that you're having, right? We are part of the solution. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning all. Stanley Bangu Hassan from the northern part of Sierra Leone, Makini. A local farmer that embarked on ginger modernized production. We talked about climate change, which is a daily activities that is done by we, the people, and for the northern part of Sierra Leone, timber logging has contributed greatly to climate change. And if I could recall, 2 years back, I was in Jala University. We have what we call soya beans. We used to plant soya beans lately November to December. And the soya beans need only the dew, which is the third season we have in Sierra Leone. That is the Harmattan season. But for now, on to December, we are expecting rains. So it's really a problem that is affecting those that are planting the soya beans. And for us, the farmers, we have what we call smoke pollution that is affecting us in Makini, the municipality of Makini. So I want with this platform for them to cascade the smoke pollution for them to stop so that it cannot cause a toxic effect to human health. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's another question there. Kosiwa, I hope you can hear clearly some of the challenges that people are raising. Unfortunately, we cannot stream you on screen, but I'm sure you can say hello and people will hear you.
Hello from you.
Kamara, from the Western area rural. What I've observed with regards to some of the issues that are affecting the growth of agriculture in Sierra Leone is environmental degradation, deforestation, and others. When this land is being exposed to the sun, what happens? Erosion takes place. And we say erosion is the washing away of the topsoil. And this will disturb the growth of plants during the raining season, after the raining season, when plants are taken off from the swamp to the land, to the upland. So this is a very destructive thing that we are putting on. And we also would like the government to see how best to put a stop to it. And let's stop deforestation. When we cut down one stick, let plant 10 sticks. Let deforest and let afforest. So thank you very much.
I really like your contribution that where we deforest, let's afforest. Where we take down one, let's put up 10. Just so we revamp the environment that we're living in. How many of us have actually been to River Number 2 Beach in the last 3 years or so? You have? Raise your hands up high. Okay. What have you noticed happening at this beach?
What I've actually noticed, not only for Number 2 Beach, is that people are massively engaged in sand mining, and that has a great heinous effect on those beaches, because if there's sand which is there to support the water from affecting people going there, it's being mined. That's a call for disaster. So that's one, and the water is actually rough right now because due to the exact same sand mining, people don't want to go and buy those sand. They want to extort it from those beaches, and the water is rough and dirty as it used to be. It was very pure, fresh, cool, but I'm seeing something different of late. So that's what I observed. Thank you.
Thank you. We didn't get your name?
My name is Fatmata Barry.
Fatmata, thank you. Anyone wants to add to what Fatmata has said about what's happening to our beaches? All right. Yeah. There's somebody over there. Please raise your hand up high so she can see you.
Yeah, what I've noticed about the beaches is that people throw dirt at the beaches, and the beach is very dirty.
That's a very important aspect of it. There's someone else in the back, right in the back, that there is a lot of waste going into the ocean and going into the beaches. This is all the water that we have in the world. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Abdul Shah. I'm from Godrich. I'm so happy to be here today. The things that I observed concerned about the beach areas is that there are a lot of dirty in particular areas wherein people just decided to throw dirty into those beaches. And mind you, this dirty that they throw to these beaches affects the species in the water, and likewise those people that live around that particular area. But when you take a look at the factor that led to that is just because people are not constructing toilets in those areas, and people are not creating a venue where they can throw dirty into those particular areas. And that's some of these factors that affecting the beaches. And of course, when it is raining, you can do find that those particular areas, there is a heavy blown of wind that affects those particular people in that particular area. And of course, we have observed that in this particular season, there is a lot of wind blown in these particular areas, and it's affecting those people there. So my advice is that I would like, if it's possible for the mayor, for him to institute a policy wherein these people, they can plant trees in those particular areas. And likewise, they can also create a venue wherein they can employ people to clean those particular areas, or likewise giving advice to people so that they can stop throwing dirt into those particular areas. So I want to thank everybody.
Thank you so much for your contribution. I think we'll take the last contribution from the front here. There's a hand up. It's very interesting to see how waste management and climate change are also quite linked, right? We'll discuss that as we go. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. I just want to make a buttress to what my brother was trying to say. One of the things that is really affecting us, most people that are living in the Western urban here, most especially the Western urban here. One thing is that it's throwing waste materials into the water, which leads to water pollution. When the water is being polluted, what happens? We'll find out that at the end of the day, we'll be affected by certain diseases. When we can see some people build their houses nearby the sea. We also talk of what other diseases that are affected as a result of what this water, one of which we talk of the river blindness, we talk of the cholera. These are all diseases that are affected by we the people that are living in that surrounding when one's waste materials are thrown into the water. So if we did not put a stop to this, will lead to water pollution, then at the end of the day, the death rate of people will be higher and will disturb the health status of the many lives. Thank you.
Thank you as well. I think it's very true. The state of the water affects the health of the people in that country. As we have blood in our bodies, the universe has water, and the same water that is outside in the world is what sustains our bodies, that enables us to be alive. They say you can live longer without food, but not so long without water. If you are able to just get water, you'll survive, even if there's no food. So this is how important water is. Online right now, we have a water expert. We managed to set up finally. We have Kosiwa Tipoaka. Kosiwa, are you there? Sure, we can hear you. Could you please increase her volume? Today, and apologies that we took a little bit longer while we were setting up, but we have some questions for you. First of all, it's what makes up agricultural water quality? What kind of water is suitable for agricultural purposes? Kasiwa, can you hear us? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We just need the guys to, if you're in the room, please try to log out of the Zoom. If you're in the room, please try to log out of Zoom. Do not join the Zoom link. Okay, so we don't have so much of the feedback. All right, you can try to speak now. You're in the room, please switch off the Zoom. Don't go on the Zoom link. Kasiwa, can you try again? Team to sort this glitch out. All right, they say we are ready. May you try again, Kosiwa? We can hear you. Thank you, Kosiwa. Maybe if you can just give us a rundown again of the 5 qualities that we look for in water. I have salt, magnesium. What are the other 3? Kasiwa, can you hear us? If you can just give us the 5 components once again. Can you come again on the 5 components? Kosiwa, can you hear us? All right, so while we're waiting for the tech team to get us back connected with Kasiwa, I just wanted to reiterate what she said. She said that the way that water should work would be that the water is in nature. We take it, we use it, we dispose of it, it goes back into the ground, and we get to use it again. So some of it can go back into the ground through our own physical body waste, or it goes into plants, the plants use it, it evaporates into the air, forming clouds, and then comes down again and as rain back into the soil. So whatever processes we use water for during the time that we have water or are using water should not put in it any components that when it goes back into the earth, it's not suitable for us to use again, as we are part of the process that that changes or transforms water from one state to another. And then she was speaking about the 5 areas or components of water that make it suitable or that are monitored for its suitability for agriculture. The first one she mentioned was salts, which is what someone talked about earlier today, that there's too much salt component and their plants are struggling. The second one was magnesium. I'm waiting, I did not hear the other 3 components. Kasiwa, can you come again for the 3 components? Okay, salinity, which is the salt levels, turbidity, hardness, acidity, and alg. Maybe you might need to come back again on these 5 areas with a little extra explanation again, because I don't even know. I talked about magnesium. Where does magnesium fit in?
Hardness. The more you have magnesium, the more the water will the
Yes. Thank you, Kasiwa. Thank you so much. I think following on that, like if we're looking at water and saying that these are the qualities or components that are supposed to be in it for agricultural purposes, I presume there are levels of it that are acceptable and levels that would not be so acceptable. What can we do in our agricultural activities to manage water in a way that we maintain the water components in the quantities or levels that are suitable for agriculture? Yes, Kosiwa, we are here. I think reiterate what she said. All right, so I'll reiterate what she said because I can hear some of it. But while I'm speaking, I really going to reach out to the tech team. Can you try and make sure that we can hear her? Because we cannot hear her in the rest of the room. Her volume is very, very low, so we cannot hear her. But what she says is whenever we put artificial, nature in itself is very well balanced. it has its ways, all of the aspects, like the components she was talking about, for example, algae, that comes from things that are rotting in the earth and stuff, and that's also part of a positive addition into the water. However, whenever we use chemicals, whether it's for washing our bodies, cooking our food, or watering our gardens, or even fertilizers, these get into the water at the time whenever you use them. But it will be difficult to get them out because there is no natural process of changing that additional chemical component that has been added to the water. So one of the best ways of making sure that we have the right water quality for agriculture all the time is to minimize the use of external chemicals in our agriculture. We encourage people to compost instead of using fertilizers like that you buy, the chemical fertilizers. We encourage you to use either compost, which you can mix animal dung, like the waste of chickens or rabbits, with soil and decaying matter, like vegetables and plants. All of that can then give back to the soil and also water without necessarily altering the state of that water that you're using, and keeping that water suitable for use in agriculture, but also for human consumption. I hope I've done a good job in translating what you've said. Some of the stuff we're not able to hear it. Questions on this water issue before we move forward? Opening up to the floor. If you're online, feel free to also type in a question if you have questions on water for Kosiwa. Are there any questions in the room? Is that a hand up in the back? No? There are no questions? No questions so far? Is that a sign of us understanding or us not even understanding anything?
I wish to ask a question. Can you hear me? Yeah.
For us all, she's asking how maybe I'll make it. How do you collect and save water on your farm? With the green. So the question is, how do we save water on our farms? Or how do we collect and save water on our farms?
Yes. With regards, my name is Junisa Kalon from Freetown, Sierra Leone, Cerebena Farms. So the method to which we use, because our farm is located in Kerry Town, close to a riverbank which leads into the ocean, is that we have irrigation systems that we use to utilize and mechanize in terms of getting pipes straight into the river, have a pumping system that draws the water right into a tank, a reservoir, an artificial reservoir that we store this water. Yeah, it was based on the content, because we have testing mechanism kits that tells us the concentrated content of certain materials, such as salt, as I earlier asked, that has been an increase in terms of the water being generated from the riverbanks lately. That is why most of the crops that were being supplied through the irrigation system were dying, and mostly growing out on a very multitudinous way. So with us having the reserve system, is that to help us during the dry season when we have intense or little or no rain, we use the irrigation system to supply the crops at certain time. So if, let's say, for instance, the tap system are put on around 6 in the evening, it runs for about an hour or two, and then early in the morning, we repeat the same, because we wouldn't do 3 full scale. Usually when it's rainy season, it's 3 times per day, but normally we just do twice when we're in the dry season. So the reserve tanks supply through the irrigation system, through the pipe system, right into the farmland, especially for crops that are in dire need of water for sustenance and for growth within the nursery into the main farm. Basically, that's what we do at Cerebena Farms. Thank you.
Thank you. If I heard correctly, you say you have some rooftop harvests that go into a reservoir. Is that correct?
I'm saying there is a pipe system that we connect, a pipe-borne system that we connect into the river system, because there's a river that goes side the farm.
Okay.
If you've been to Kerry Town, there is a river that runs straight into the ocean. So what we did was we could not get tap system or get the Guma Valley or any of these water to come into the farm. So what we did was to connect the pipe system. We've got a generator and pump system that draws the water in and helps whilst it supplies the plant at a certain time. It also fills a reserve tank that we have. It's not something too big, but it's a reserve tank that can serve certain acreage at certain time frame. So if you're doing an hour, let's say late in the evening at around 6 or 7, the tap system are put on for an hour to supply the crops and then close, and early in the morning we do the same. But usually when it's in the rainy season, we have 3 times, apart from the downpour of rain. We do in the morning, mid-afternoon, and then late in the evening, depending on the need of the plant for water supply. That's how we tend to do supplies.
Okay, so Sarah Farms just said that they collect water from a river using a diesel generator pump and some pipes, and take it to their farm where it is used for irrigation purposes, but also it is saved in a reservoir for as and when it's needed. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Hassan Almami Kamara from Cambia.
Sorry, can you speak a bit louder?
Hassan Almami Kamara from Cambia.
Okay.
Actually, what he has just said, I can say it can only be related to farms that are near to water side. As for me, I can say the way to reserve water in your farmland by the way of planting trees. I can say that's one of the ways to get water in your farmlands. Thank you.
Can you explain a bit more? How does planting trees help save water for your farm?
Actually, I know wherever a tree locates, it can help to absorb water. So that is that.
Okay, thank you. There's another contribution right in front. And then we have 2 more contributions before we move forward.
David Musa from Kaidan. David. For me, I will save water for my farmland through by digging my own well or pond. So through that, when it rains, I will capture or store water from there through by digging my own well or pond.
Okay, so David says that he built a pond or a well where he collects the water when it rains. Yes. Please remember to tell us your name.
I'm Anita Bayo from Godrich. And ways to save water for farming. In period of regular rainstorm, consider building rain barrels to store.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Just hold the mic a bit closer to your mouth.
In period of regular rainstorm, we consider building rain barrels to store precipitation. When rain season turns into drought, you are able to use that natural rainwater for crop irrigation.
Okay, is this something that you're currently doing?
What I saw my dad doing.
Okay, all right, thank you. A couple of hands coming up. Do you guys know that Sierra Leone is amongst the top countries, or the countries that have the highest rainfall in the world. We have a lot of water here. We should not even be having water problems. Please go ahead.
Okay. I'm Slaju Kwaka, farmer from Bondi Street. I have a question and also have a comment. The question I want to ask about water, I want to know the normal pH range of water that will be used in agricultural activities. Then the comment on how we can tap water or can get water in our farms. Like, for example, I have a borehole in my farm. That borehole is what I use to get water, at least to use in my farming practices or activities. We have a machine that can pump the water from the borehole if we want to use this to water the crops. Then also we tap water. We have tank that is placed in an open place. When there is rainfall, that you can tap the water from the direct rainfall. We can get it in the tank, and we can use that particular water to do our activities in our farm. So please, I would like to know the pH range of the normal water used in agricultural activities.
All right, there's a question for you, Kosiwa. What is the normal pH range for water for agricultural activities? But before you answer, I will take one more. Oh, you have? Okay, two more contributions.
Good morning, good afternoon all. I'm a farmer from Karone District. And if we're talking about climate-oriented initiative to save our environment, I think the most sustainable one is planting trees. Planting trees will not only help your farm, but will also help to protect the environment and also to introduce organisms that will help the growth of your plant. So I believe and I encourage all to actually embark on planting trees, because planting trees can also help deforestation to restore the trees cut by farmers through their farming activities, and also charcoal burning as a source of fuel. I think it's one of the best sustainable means that we will embark on.
Thank you. Sir, I didn't get your name.
I'm Komara Baidumbia from Karone District, founder of our development company.
Okay, nice to meet you, Komara.
Good afternoon. My name is Momelamin Sanko from Cambia District. I just want to reaffirm my two brothers here, their statement, saying we should embark on planting more trees. Yeah, in as much as agriculture is concerned, if we cultivate more trees, they influence rainfall. Clear? So, if they influence rainfall, in the sense we are going to have enough water, so there will not be a shortage of water. So also in the places wherein we are very close to water, another way we can access water to our farms is to get a boreholes wherein we fetch water to do our local irrigation process. In as much as our country is not that too standard to employ certain machines, machineries, and most of the farmers are very poor. They cannot afford this instrument. So what we are currently doing in our district is like this. We cultivated more canopies to prevent, to influence rainfall. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let me make my own contribution
Okay.
about how we can reserve water. As for us in the western area, rural, during the rainy season, we hopefully depend on the rain for watering our plants. During the drying season, we dig water ponds nearby the heaps of where we are planting. For example, in the evening, we go out there, water the plants. Then at the end of the day, we are going to dig this pit until we meet the water on the ground. After digging it, we are going to leave it for, let me say, like 2 or 3 days so that the water will settle down. So when we might have watered the plant in the evening hours, we allow it to the water to come out and settle. During the morning hours again, when we go meet the water there again, it has full the pond now, we will take it again and water the plant. So that's the way we do normally do our daily watering, and how best you can save water during the drying season.
All right, there's another contribution right there in the back. He's burning to speak. I think when we are in a country like Sierra Leone and the amount of rainfall we collect, the wisest thing would be to harvest that rainfall, collect it whenever it's raining. We have somewhere we collect it, and then we can build up from there. Please go right ahead.
Yeah, planting trees for farmers is very good. Whenever we have trees, the soil is always moist. So if you have a moist soil, there is no need for you to eager or for desperate how you can source in water so that you can water your plant. And also another simplest method that I learned from the local farmers, they are very, very much sensitive when it comes to their own watering process. Other farmers used to water their plant maybe by 12, because in the morning hours the soil is already moist. So they don't go in the morning hours to water their plant. Other farmers only go in the evening hours to water their plant, and in the morning hours we have the dew that fall, and the farmers use that dew as a watering process. And I have a question for the madam. If you are a local farmer and you want to embark into large-scale farming, and you did not have the capital, but you have the idea, I want the madam to give me a profound solution that will motivate we upcoming farmers so that we can go into large-scale farming. Thank you.
Okay, can you ask the question again? You say that you're a local farmer?
For we the upcoming farmers, because upcoming farmers start from local farmers. If we want to embark into large-scale farming, but we don't have the opportunity and we don't have short capacity like this, I want the madam to give us a profound explanations or profound solutions that will motivate us so that we can use those ideas so that we can embark on large-scale farming.
Okay, there's a difficult question for you, Kosiwa, here. They say that, say the local farmers, the small-scale farmers, how can you transition from small-scale to large-scale if you have not yet received any support? Like if you don't have capital, how can you make that transition? For now, I'm going to let you answer the question on the correct pH for water for agriculture purposes. And maybe we can hear from you a bit about how to save water on our farms. Thank you, Kasiwa. Just reiterating what she said initially, I think towards the end we could hear her properly. She said the pH for water, the suitable pH for water is between 6.5 and 8.5. All right. I will also add to the answer that she gave on how to scale from when you are a small scale farmer to becoming a large commercial farmer. And what she said is pretty much the truth. You basically have to work from where you are. You have to utilize the resources that you have. And whatever you get out of it, you put it back into the business. You put it back into your farm. You continue to grow it. The thing with just last year, I conducted a research on the entrepreneur ecosystem in Sierra Leone. And one of the main reasons, actually the top reason or the top challenge that businesses shared with me that they were having was access to finance. And here's the thing, there is money available for entrepreneurs. However, you need to have your systems right. You need to have the right structures in place. You need to have done something to show that you are actually able to do what you say you're doing. So if you are a small scale farmer, continue farming, continue inputting effort and commitment into your farm and producing. Ensure that you can grow your yield from year 1 to year 2. Go out looking for information as much as you can. Being here is one of those steps, but you can also search on YouTube channels. We are always on social media. Check on YouTube channels of how to improve the yield of whatever you're growing. And as you grow, you continue to reinvest that money into your business. Keep your records. Show how much you've grown in the first year, in the second year, in the third year, to show that there is consistency and there is growth. When that is shown, people are more comfortable to give you their money because they know you will go ahead and use it for the purposes you say you will. There are so many people who come and say, oh, I need money, I have an idea, I need money, I have a business, right? Entrepreneurship is very hard. It's not easy. And so when you get that money, are you going to follow through and do what you say you're going to do? Or do you go out and then decide to buy a car or buy a house or buy some shoes, some nice clothes then? The reason why investors don't give us money is because we have not proven that we know what we're doing and that when we get that money, we'll continue to do it. So be consistent, continue doing what you're doing, and in time, you will find people that are willing to invest for you to become even larger than you are. Are there any questions on water that we would want to ask? All right, I need help with the microphone. Somebody? The online submissions. But yeah, there were some contributions, some questions. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Morrison Bakari. My question here is how to conserve water for better potential contamination of plants in our society.
How to conserve water for better?
Potential contamination of plants in our society. Society.
Okay, did you hear that, Kosiwa?
Can I say it again?
Yes, please try to say it slowly but louder.
Okay. How to conserve water for better potential contamination of plants in our society.
So how to conserve water from potential contamination that will go to the plants, I think. That's what I've understood. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Kosiwa, did you get that?
Yes, I got.
The name is Junisa Kalon, Serebena Farms. My question is, how can you balance the content in terms of nutrients for aqua farm? For instance, if I'm having an aqua farm, how can you balance the nutrient or the content or the concentrated content in the water in order to sustain the livelihood of the fish for a long time in terms of production? That's one. Two, the other question is with regards to a natural disaster in the country. We are privy to the horror a few years back with the mudslide at Motome. How can you provide, what best practice can be provided in terms of rotational mechanism to avoid the adverse effect of contaminated soil that has been affected by the dead persons, like people who are under this soil, like what we have at Motome. We have people who are there, and that area was just condemned, was just blanked out, but of course it's got some nutritious value for agricultural purpose. But what best rotational practices can be used to help in terms of conserving the water content within the soil for sustainable farming?
Okay, so there are two questions there. The first one is for aquaculture. How can we maintain suitable water health, if I can say, for aquaculture? And then the second one is we had a mudslide a few years ago. What can we do to protect our soil and also the water from having similar events happen in the future? But additionally, are there any processes to help purify the soil or the water if need be? And then I'll take the last question.
Thank you very much. Edward JD Alpha from Pujol. Just asked on the live chat, but my question was not answered by our guest. So I want to ask again if there is any policy guiding the aquatic system in Africa, because we all know that we have aquatic degradation in Sierra Leone and other part of Africa as well, that is affecting us as young farmers who have so much passion for agriculture as well. So I want to know if there is any policy guiding our aquatic system across Africa.
Is there any
I'm asking about policy.
Promising
policy. Yeah, is there any laws? Because in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, I was fortunate to be part of a process that Sierra Leone was developing a policy to guide our territorial waters, because most of these ships coming in do dump their waste here in Sierra Leone that is affecting, our waters that we do use for agricultural purposes and for the aquatic, for fish. Those who are in agro-fishing business as well. So I want to know if there is any policy that the EU or ECOWAS has put in place that is guiding this aquatic system in Africa.
Okay, thank you. I got that question. So the third question is, are there any policies that are governing or protecting aquatic systems in Africa that you know of? Kosiwa, did you get that last? How can we manage our environment in a way that we do not end up in the same place? And how can we also continue to manage the soil quality if at any point there are contaminations? Kosiwa for your contribution and for incredible information on how we can manage our water to keep it useful for agriculture. And a very big thank you to everybody who has participated. We will break here for today. 2 key takeaways for me from this session are, one, we are part of the process. So whatever the water goes through, it passes through us. If we want better quality water, we need to use water in better ways and be responsible for it. Going organic is the way to go. The second one is that there is the AISO, which is a platform that has standardized a lot of things in agriculture, including aqua and on land. Please access that platform. If you cannot or if you want support, remember to leave your details if you have not registered or not done so we can reach out to you and give you whatever information we get from there. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, and have a good afternoon. We'll break here for now. Use this time for matchmaking, for getting to know each other, for networking, because after this, we will probably be able to have our lunch. But before then, it will be advised as to how we're going to do that. Thank you, everyone. Take care. And thank you, Kosiwa. Thank you, everybody online. Cheers. Bye.